Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back after a little bit of the hiatus. The Triple Coverage Podcast is back, and we are excited to talk fantasy. We've been on a little bit of a layoff, but we are back for you guys, and I'm not even going to delay us any further. I'm going to pass the ball along to one of my co hosts. Go ahead.
What is up, friends and family? We are back, and in the time that you were gone, the Patriots done got him a dub, boy.
How's everybody doing, man? Glad to be back. Glad to see the boys. Everything is flowing. Everything's going well. So we're excited to do this episode for you guys, and excited to get some football talk.
Hell yeah.
All right. So, fellas, before we get into a couple of questions in the show for this evening, let me ask you guys, how is your fantasy team looking? Now, not all of them, but that main team or that main league that you're in, that either it's the most money or the most competitive or you talk the most crap in. How are you doing? Where are you at? Zach, let's go ahead and start with you. What's your record? What are some things that stand out about your team thus far?
So,
We're in ending week 8, right?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
week 8 just ended. Yeah,
All right.
we're almost towards the end. It's driving me insane. It flies so far, so fast. So in my big money league, the one where I'm most comfortable and everything like that, I'm sitting at 4-4, still playoff bound. Had a couple of weeks there where people just weren't showing up. People didn't want to take the field. People didn't really want to play. I had last week, if it wasn't for Javonte Williams, I think I would have scored like 40 points or something like that, which is insane in a PPR league. But this week was really good. Stroud actually played like a quarterback this week instead of last week. Like, he didn't show up at all. So, but Gibbs, St. Brown, they always do well for you. St. Brown got in the end zone, but not much more than that. And then Waddle, I played him, just thinking, okay, Tua's back. Let's get back into the rhythm of things. That didn't really pan out for me that well. But your boy went and picked up Kate Otten. As soon as I saw Godwin hit the ground, I was like, boom, snagging him. He ended up getting me 30 points in PPR. So that saved the week right there. So yeah, I'm sitting at 4-4, still competitive, still in the playoff picture. Got some moves to do. Got some bye weeks coming up, so got to rearrange some pieces. But it's fantasy football, man.
That is fantasy. So, Eric, talk to me. Where are you at? What's the word? What's going on with your team?
Boys, we are 7-1. 7-1, first place, sitting pretty. I am happy. I do not understand how I made that trade for Baker Mayfield, and my quarterback room stabilized, even though I'm still chilling with 4 quarterbacks on my roster right now. So we stabilized with that. I just lost Chris Godwin for the year. Appreciate you for your 6 weeks of deliciousness, because you were catching everything.
Yes, it was.
Lost JMO for 2 weeks because that man don't know how to stay on the field, either from injuries or suspensions. But Keon Coleman decided to start playing football again. Jacoby Myers is healthy. My running backs are scoring touchdowns by the bucket full. Brock Bowers is still the GOAT. So we're chilling at 7-1. Bye weeks are coming up, which I'm gonna be honest, it's gonna make it a little tough to keep that one, but we should be good. We should be good.
Yeah, anything can happen on any given Sunday. It's football. So, I mean, we'll see. And we're going to talk about that too. So, for me, I am 3-3-1 right now. Yes, I tied with the number 1 team in our league. He has Lamar Jackson. He has A.J. Brown. He has Justin Jefferson. He had a good one when I played him. Luckily, I got out of there with a tie. So, I'm 3-3-1. That has me currently top 5 in the league thus far. My running back room looks incredible. I have Saquon and Bijan on the same team. That's right. You heard me. Saquon and Bijan on the same team. Also, I have Rashad White and picked up Bucky Irving off of the waiver wire. So I'm going to stash those guys for late in the season. I feel like either one or both will be a viable option come playoff time because I will be making the playoffs. Now, yesterday, um, uh, George Kittle gave me a nice little cushion considering my opponent had Jaden Daniels. He had the Hail Mary at the end, which was incredible. Kind of boosted his points up. So I'm sitting comfortably with a 133 to 112 lead. My opponent has George Pickens tonight. I have an individual defensive player in TJ Watt. So we're going to see how that goes tonight. I'm confident that I'll be able to pull out the win, via it be close or it be a blowout. We'll see. But right now, I'm currently 3-1. I left Kirk Cousins on the bench for Jordan Love. Jordan Love went out early on Sunday. Stephon Diggs went out early on Sunday. For some reason, Kirk Cousins, 17 one week, 60 the next week, 19 one week, 44 the next week. You know, you never can really tell with Kirk Cousins. But as a Falcon fan, Zach, I pretty much know you're excited. So I'm going to get right to it. We're going to get to smoke. We're going to get to the questions. Right here on Triple Coverage Fantasy Pod, we predicted that Devontae Adams would be a Jet. He is a Jet. Now, he has 2 games under his belt, and he is 0-2 as a Jet. There's Garrett Wilson, there's Devontae Adams, there's Alan Lazard, there's Conklin, and then there's Aaron Rodgers. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it off and ask a question. Is Aaron Rodgers washed? What's going on? Eric, you take it away. We did beat the Jets yesterday, by the way. So, Eric, you take it away. Let me know. Do you think Aaron Rodgers is washed?
Everybody on that fucking team is washed. Fuck the Jets. There is nothing sweeter than a dub against New York. I don't even care. Like, we could lose the rest of the year, and I hope we do. But as long as that dub was New York, yeah. Yeah, no, I think Aaron's washed. If you watch him play, the velocity on his balls don't look as good as they used to. His decision making isn't nearly as crisp as it used to be, and some of those throws he was making yesterday just looked bad. Like, I mean, you know, father time comes for everybody, some sooner than others, but I would. My thought process is: we fired our head coach, we still can't win. We got rid of Nathaniel Hackett, we still can't win. We said if we had a full season of Aaron Rodgers, we'd be in the playoffs. They still can't win. That whole organization
added Devontae Adams,
and he's 0-2. That whole organization is a cesspool. Let's be honest. They are never going to be winners, ever. And you can quote me on that because fuck the Jets.
Okay. All right, Zach, what do you think?
It's hard to dispute what Eric was saying, man. I mean, like we've seen 8 games, and we've seen nothing but losses. Essentially, like even when they got the win, they looked like they didn't deserve the win. So it was like a barely skating by, getting things done. Breece Hall, thank Christ you're on this team type situation, rather than okay, we have this what would essentially be a mutt squad in Madden, and nothing can get done. I think there's too many Chiefs, not enough Indians on that team. I don't know if that's offensive in 2024, so my apologies. But I just think that, you know, you have too many big egos, Aaron Rodgers being the biggest ego in the NFL, and it's just so far the chemistry's not there. So I think there's a lot of room for growth from that team. I think the ceiling is still very high for such a squatted up team like that. But I think right now we're seeing the floor, and that's why everybody's having these conversations. It's like, okay, well, it's not looking pretty, but I mean, give it some time, right? I mean, they did just change the scheme completely. They did just add players onto the team. It takes time to build that. You know, just because Devontae has chemistry with Aaron doesn't mean Devontae has chemistry with the coaching staff, with the other players, with the defense when they're doing one-on-ones and everything like that. Like him and Sauce got into it at practice 3 days ago. You know what I mean? Like, it's just egos are colliding, you know? So it's just one of those things where, like, we won't know until the end of the season. So, I
Right.
mean, it's going to be fun to watch either way.
So my thing is, I think Aaron Rodgers needs to be a backup. But if I'm the Jets, I let this thing play out because you got two valuable pieces on the outside with Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams. You got Shador in the draft. You got Cam Ward in the draft. You keep going at this rate, you're definitely going to be picking in the top five. I know the Patriots will be there too, but we're not looking for a quarterback. We're in the Travis Hunter sweepstakes. So for the Jets, you let this thing ride out. They can't afford to lose too many more games or they're going to be totally eliminated from any kind of contention. Wild card, playoff, you name it. They'll be done completely. So we're going to stay tuned on that. For me, I was able to dump Devontae Adams um, early and get good value for him, why the potential was there and why people were excited and speculating about him being with Aaron Rodgers again. So I got good value. In fact, in my work league, I shipped off Devontae Adams and Xavier Worthy for CD Lamb. The team who had CD Lamb was in absolute last place. I still have Jaden Reed. I still have Terry McLaurin. I have Malik Neighbors, and CD Lamb has been added, and I have Nico Collins as well. So in my work league, I'm pretty stacked at wide receiver, and I'm looking to make a push for the bag. So that's where we are with everything. So right now, it looks like in the NFL, wrapping up these games for this week, it was tight ends day yesterday. We had a huge explosion, pause, on tight end production yesterday. Am I right?
Yep. So we had 11 touchdowns in the opening window from tight ends. And then we had, I believe, in the late window, we had about 8. So, I mean, they were firing on all cylinders for National Tight Ends Day, which is awesome. We love to see that. That was a position that was hurting really bad for a lot of fantasy owners, and so we
Absolutely.
got that swing, and hopefully it kind of upticks from here on out. You know, we saw some names kind of come out where it wasn't happening for a while. We were like, all right, let's dump them. Laporta had a great day. McBride had a great day. Kincaid had a great day. Kittle had an amazing game. So
Kelsey,
Kyle Pitts.
Kyle
Kyle
Pitts
Pitts,
finally showed up.
Kelsey,
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Yep, he gave a lot of people 25, I believe, in fantasy. 2 touchdowns. We love that. But yeah, man. So that's exciting to see when you have down positions and you're finally able to come up. Man, it's fun to watch.
I agree wholeheartedly. I agree. Next episode, I want to make sure that we all go back and we take a look because we'll be past the halfway point. We go back, we take a look at some of our predictions. Is those number one players still the number one players? Where's everything at in fantasy football in terms of what we predicted and
Can
where
we
we?
do? Can you do me a favor though? Can we do top 12? At
Yeah,
least,
yeah.
quarterback
Listen,
position?
that's fine. That's fine. That is fine. I was gonna get to this. Anthony Richardson. Right now,
Sucks.
you have me and Eric looking so foolish, and you are about to cost us an authentic NFL jersey to Zach. Zach's going to be rocking 2 jerseys because of Anthony Richardson. With that being said, what do you guys think about Anthony Richardson play, his struggles, his comment, hey, I'm tired. Like, what do you assess as him as a leader? Zach, now I'm going to let you do it first just because you've been said it. So tell us, Anthony Richardson.
So I hate to be the guy because my father raised me correctly. So he always said, "Don't tell your friends I told you so." That's just mean, right? So I fucking told you so. Me right now, okay? I know we still have a lot of season left, and there's a lot of changes that could be made with the scheme and the O line. They could beef it up before the trade deadline, whatever. I don't think those things are the main issue with Anthony Richardson. I think it's the injury that he sustained last year is still in his head, and then the injuries that he's garnered this year are on top of that injury from last year, and so he's scared to play the game. You can see it on every drive. He's not looking at any of his checkdowns. Jonathan Taylor was open how many times in the flat last night or yesterday? So many. And he
And
was just like, nope,
I
I'm
seen
just
at
going
least
to
4
air
to
it out.
5 times. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just like, I'm just going to bomb it because all people talk about is my arm strength, right? But if your accuracy is not there, don't throw it far. Nobody's out there to catch it from you, buddy. That one catch from Downs in the end zone that they didn't call a touchdown, they called him down at the 1. I was like, hello? These refs are blowing some of it too. But him tapping out onto the sideline to get out for that play to bring Joe Flacco in was the most unfootball thing I think I've ever seen in 36 years of living.
Yeah.
I thought that was ridiculous. And I sent you guys that thing from Pat McAfee where they were talking about it earlier, and it's just like, that's never happened before ever.
Yeah.
Like, you just lost the trust of your team, your coaches, the town. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not willing to get out there even when you're hurt, you know what I mean? Like, I saw somebody say this on Twitter. Sorry, I'm going to rant for a little bit because I was right, and I few and far between moments. That game where Stafford literally broke his shoulder and finished the game. You know what I mean? Like, that should be what kids are striving to be, is that fucking quarterback that can get out there and get a win no matter what. That game was close. That game was obtainable at that moment, and you could have gone ahead, and instead you were like, put in Flacco. My hip hurts. Put in Flacco. You play through that injury, man. Hand the ball off to one of the best running backs in the league, and Jonathan Taylor, if you can't feel like you can't get the hip motion to throw the ball. Or check it down in the flat like you should have 12 plays ago.
I agree.
He's not mentally there.
Or just take what the defense is giving you, right? Surely there's pockets in the zone you can zip, 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 and then hand it off. Very disappointed in Richardson. What do you think, Eric? Anthony Richardson thus far.
I mean, what Zach says, 100% accurate. You can see it on his face. That injury is still there. We talked about it week 1 with Kirk Cousins and his bad play, but you could see signs that he was at least trying to get through it. I think that injury is sticking in AR's mind, and he's got to find a way to work through it. There was not only the Jonathan Taylor passes in the flat. I saw a few passes to Adonai Mitchell that he just came up so short on, and like, I know for a fact Adonai can catch those balls. I've watched him absolutely shred Alabama's defense 3 years in a row. Like, I know what he's capable of, but he just, for whatever reason, will not get past the injury. And to an extent, I understand him tapping out, but also I don't. Like, his excuse was, I'm tired. Like, if you're hurt, that's one thing. But just to be like, I'm tired, like, bro, you've missed half the season. You're Jonathan Taylor's taken like every single hit in Indy at this point because he's the only one doing anything. How do you think he feels? Do you not think he's tired? He's tired of running. He's tired of getting hit. He ain't tapping out. Like, when a punter calls you out, and God bless Pat McAfee. I love Pat McAfee more than I honestly should at this point in my life. But when a punter calls you out as a quarterback, there's an issue there. There's an issue. And like you said, he's lost the trust of his team at this point. Like, it's over for him in Indy, in my opinion. Like, he's got to go somewhere else.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I don't know where Indy goes from here. They're terrible. They're probably going to be top 10 draft picking as well. Hey, man, we've seen some wild things in the draft. So, I mean, I'll put it to you like this. If Indy goes towards a quarterback or if they go towards a wide receiver, or it just depends, man. Their drafting is going to say a lot about how they feel about Richardson and what they feel like the future is going to be. They may not go quarterback first round, but if you get a Nussmeier second round, third round QB, then the writing's pretty much going to be on the wall here when it comes to Anthony Richardson. So we'll definitely stay tuned.
This kind of reminds me of 2010, 2011 with Carolina. You get your franchise quarterback with Jimmy Clausen, and then you're absolutely cheeks, and Cam Newton falls to you. And what do you do in that situation? You take the guy you know is going to be uh, the franchise quarterback, and Cam Newton was him. Um, I, I I fell into ESPN's hype with AR. I never, ever, ever listened to anybody else hype up players, and I fell into it with ESPN. I personally told somebody to draft Anthony Richardson because he was going to be a top 5 quarterback, and they are not very happy with me. Luckily, there was some good quarterbacks on the free agency list that she was able to grab. Somebody dropped Caleb Williams for whatever reason, and so she added Caleb Williams, and I'm like, much better pick, much better pick. So AR is kind of getting my trust fucked up out here, and I don't like that.
A broken clock is right 2 times a day, brother.
So,
Hey,
so right now, both the ARs are stinking it up in football. So, hopefully, Anthony Richardson turns it around miraculously. That way, I don't have to buy Zach a jersey. But I'm gonna ask you guys this question. Put you on the spot right now. Give me your top 3 NFL teams.
okay.
Yeah, I think I got it. Yeah.
Kansas City has got to be one because they're still undefeated.
100%.
Detroit Lions because they are so fucking fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it. Minnesota Vikings.
Wow. Okay. Now, see, we were so close.
I almost said the Falcons, but
no, we're not even up there either. Not top 3 for sure. Absolutely not. I'll say a weird one, and it kind of we'll see what happens this evening.
Okay.
But I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are working their way to be a top 3 team. That defense is insane.
Yep.
The offense is clicking. They're starting to get there. Doesn't matter if it's Justin or Russ. The offense has trust in both quarterbacks, and so does the coaching. I do think before deadline, Justin goes somewhere else, which is rightfully so, and Russ plays out his contract there in Pittsburgh. But I think that with their record and the games that they have remaining, they could 100% win that division. Baltimore, falling to the Browns yesterday definitely helped that situation if Pittsburgh wins tonight. Eagles destroying the Bengals really can help the Steelers tonight if they take the win. I think that they're just a really good team coached by a really good coach and could definitely get there, win the division, I think.
So you have Kansas City, Lions, and Pittsburgh?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So it's going to be no mystery with me here. I'm going to go with top 3 teams, the obvious Kansas City Chiefs. They've lost so many pieces, yet they find a way to get it done. They inserted Kareem Hunt, who came back and looks like he's never left the team. They signed Juju Smith-Schuster, who had one amazing game, and then he's out. Then they trade for DeAndre Hopkins, which was, I thought, an absolute steal for a team like that. And I think his production, fantasy-wise, is going to pick up and increase as the season continues. They just find a way to get it done, and they just traded for our boy, Josh Uche. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but they just traded for him, who's an uber athlete, and Spags loves to blitz. So he's found an incredible home there. Number 2, I have to go with the Detroit Lions. Now, I'll be honest. I like the Baltimore Ravens better as a team and a roster long term. But right now, Lions just got the juice, man. They just got it, man. 50 points this week, 40 plus points the other week. They just got it right now. They're clicking on all cylinders. And we said this. We said this earlier in the year that the Detroit Lions had enough pieces to make some noise, and it's paying off. Gibbs, and I thought Bijan was far ahead of Gibbs, but it seems like they're neck and neck. They are neck and neck. Now, I will give it this. Gibbs is sharing a backfield with Montgomery, which kind of makes it a little bit easier on Gibbs to come in, have those explosive plays, or let Montgomery do a bulk of the heavy lifting there. And third, I got the Baltimore Ravens, man. Listen, Lamar Jackson has been phenomenal. Derrick Henry has been phenomenal. When they lose a game, I'm just like, okay, oh well, this, it happens. It's football. Um, that defense, though, that defense is kind of suspect. So we will stay tuned to see exactly how things play out with that defense long term. But my top three: Kansas City, Detroit Lions, and the Baltimore Ravens. So those are going to be my top three teams in the NFL right now. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a peek into Week 9, and we're going to talk fantasy. Set your lineups, and also, uh, do you have any free agent pickups you feel like you're going to utilize this week?
Uh, so I'm pretty much I do have to add an IDP guy because Bosa's on a bye. So I have to find a defensive lineman, which is hard enough already because they never get points. Um, so I'm going to play around with that, but I am going ahead and proactively trying to add Yanu Smith as a tight end for next week when I don't have Brock Bowers because I don't have a backup tight end. Um, so Yanu is probably my best option unless I can trade for one, which I might could finagle somebody out of uh, Mark Andrews. I might try to do that or get not Gasicki. Um, so that's pretty much what I'm starting to do. Is I'm going to start looking towards um, bye weeks because I'm about to get eat alive. I didn't have anybody with early buys.
Yeah, I made sure to eat as much of the bye weeks as possible early on, just because of how weak schedules are and how predictions are for certain players in fantasy. That kind of worked out for me because here in the next I think 3 or 4 weeks, I got no buys. So team is good to go. Team is stacked, and that's going to help out when teams really do start struggling with buys. Mine is just the same lineup every week. I do need to go out and find a good flex player in this big money league because right now I'm sitting with Tyler Lockett. Thought he was going to have a really explosive game yesterday with DK being gone. It just turned into the Jackson Smith show, and the Kenneth Walker show. So can't even got to find somebody there. And then I've been streaming defenses, so just kind of got to find the best defense available for that week and go from there. But I mean, other than that, I'm looking okay in most of my leagues.
Yeah, I'm pretty much going to roll with my same lineup. I'm anticipating Diggs being out. He had an injury. So I'm going to rotate my wide receivers. I think I'm going to start Keon Coleman next week. Alave has earned my trust again. He had a solid game last night, so I'll put him in there. And then in the flex, I think I have a decision to make here between Rashad White and Bucky Irvin. But I think I'm going to go with three backs next week: Saquon, Bijan, and then either Rashad White or Bucky Irvin. Usually I spam defenses, like you stated, Zach, and I also spam individual defensive players. So I will be looking for them for Monday night. Again, this is what I get my individual defensive players for. You have a 20-point cushion, you have a 23-point cushion, and you want to get guys in there that maybe get you 6, 9 points that'll push it out a little bit further to 30 points, in some of those tight matchups. So I'm going to go with my same lineup. Jordan Love and Kirk Cousins. So Jordan Love went out with a groin injury, and I hope he plays next week.
Go play.
Um, Kirk Cousins, again, he's coming off 44 points. And it's almost like, yo, he's going to give me 19 next week. He's going to give me 21 next week.
Yeah, we're
So,
playing Dallas in Dallas. That's never a good game for the Falcons in general, so I'm assuming it's not going to be a good one for Kirk.
Yep.
So even without Micah Parsons, I think they still struggle heavily with that defense that Dallas has.
yeah, and even, yeah. But I just trust in Bijan. So I'm just going to,
Yeah,
I picked
it'll
him
be the
high.
Bijan show.
And Bijan's been doing his thing. He's been
Yeah.
producing at a major rate. So as far as that, Yeah, number absolutely. Pickups that I got. I picked up Rashad Bateman. I'm not gonna lie. The Tampa Bay game, I picked him up. I was excited. Then I seen our boy Adrian, who does power the Triple Coverage podcast, say Bateman has to go. Bateman is dropping passes. So I don't know. I don't know if Lamar is gonna have continue to have that trust in him and hit him downfield while he's open. That's the thing about Baltimore wide receivers. You just never know who's going to be the one each week, right? Everybody
Mm-hmm.
was crapping on Mark Andrews. As a matter of fact, in my work league, he was on the free agent list. I picked him up and he started producing as soon as I picked him up. So you just never know. So we'll stay tuned on that as well. And we also got to look out for CMC. CMC could be returning, which could change the tide for a lot of fantasy teams.
You say that, and Pacheco is coming back next week too.
Really, Pacheco is coming back. Oh wow!
That boy went to rehab.
They said that he was walking around Kansas City's stadium, no boot, no crutches, no nothing. That boy's ready.
Yeah, he's young. He has it in him. I'm excited to see him come back. Hopefully they play him on a snap count and don't fuck it up too fast. But he's a bruiser, man. He's back into the game. He's excited.
I'll start him and Kareem. I don't even care.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. That's another backfield. Like that's what the backfields are coming to in the NFL right now is like duos. I love Tyler Algier. I love that we have him as well as Bijan Robinson. I think one combo is amazing. I think that's helped our scheme tremendously. It's opened up the passing lanes a ton. So I think that's like the new norm moving ahead. Is there's going to be let's get a veteran in here that can bruise in through the end zone, and then let's get a fucking speedy college kid that can run his knees out, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, no, most definitely. So, listen, guys, it's been phenomenal. We're finally back. So, much like a player off injury reserve, we getting our legs back going. We're getting our stride back going, and we're gonna be here again next week, Monday, in real time, to talk about Week 9 and things of that nature. Before we get off the line, you guys got anything you want to shout out, plug, or say really quickly? Triple Coverage Podcast, powered by Suplex Dinner Club. What do you got to say, Zach? How you feeling, man? Those Falcons. How about those Falcons?
Man, I'm excited. Being the division leader is always nice. Maybe the worst division in football as it stands right now, but we're on top of it. So that's all that really matters to me. Get us into the playoffs. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what kind of team we become. Very happy with the way that we're working. Defense is looking great. Bates played like a maniac yesterday. Love seeing that. AJ Terrell playing like this is why we paid him. You know what I mean? Same for Kirk. He played like this is why we paid a guy. He's making history. Only player with 8 touchdowns against the same opponent in 1 month in the history of the NFL. So thank you, Kirko. Kirktober is over. We'll have to see what happens next month. We'll have to rename it something else. Kirkfall, maybe something like that. I don't know. But yeah, man, I'm happy with the way that we're trajectory. Yeah.
Kirkvember.
That's a good one. Yeah. I like that.
Kirk's giving.
Kirk's giving is great.
Kirk's giving, I like that. Yeah,
he's giving us hope, and it's kind of sad.
I would actually challenge that. I like the NFC South better than the AFC East at this point.
Really?
If you look outside of Buffalo, there's 7 wins outside of Buffalo. Miami's got 3. We've got 2. The Jets have 2. The only reason your division's not great right now is because Tampa's now dealing with half of their offense out. Yeah, Saints don't have their quarterback, and Carolina is Carolina. Shout out to Bryce Young, though. 2 touchdowns yesterday, boy.
That first drive looked like, okay, this kid's ready. He learned. And then it's every other drive after that, I was like, oh, nope, there he is.
Nope, he's still there.
Oh, he's still all right.
No, I still love Bryce, though. I don't know where he's at that. No, it's good to be back, boys. It's been October was a rough month for all of us. So I'm glad to be back in the swing of things. Get my mind off some stuff. It's good to be back.
100%.
It's good to be back. It's good to have you back. October is about to be behind us. We have one last thing to do. I know, Zach, you're with me here. We have to go panhandling for candy on Thursday. And then after that, we can get ready for November, which is probably one of my favorite months because Thanksgiving, because Black Friday. But above all else, the football in November is going to separate the men from the boys.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to see it. It's going to be a lot of ground and pound, cold weather games. These running backs, you're going to see an uptick in running back production coming November and December. And who does not love the Thanksgiving game? Sitting around the house, you have your plate, you have your 50-inch, whatever, 60-inch television, and you're just eating and watching football. We cannot wait. Before we sign off again, we are the Triple Coverage Podcast. We're powered by the Suplex Dinner Club. We always thank you guys. We thank you for hanging in there with us during our hiatus, and we're back, and we will be back next week, Monday night. Monday night, tap in. We love you guys again. Thank you. Peace, and we are out.